All right, we are recording. So I'm going to share my screen, guys, and I'm going to share, how many of you guys are visual learners? Like to see pictures, images, things like that? Okay, I'm going to start there, and then I'm going to go into like the texts. A lot of this you guys already have, but I just want to paint you like a complete picture so you can see where this falls. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Make sure everyone's in. All right, so can you guys see that okay, or do we need to make it a little larger? Everybody good? Okay, so what you're seeing is what I call the client journey, right? So all of our clients come in and they have a journey with us, and we get to impact them along the way. But for a lot of them, before before the 14-day shipping, we would start here. We would really do their kickoff call, and then we would get them rolling in week 1. Then they would go into, their first 30 days, and then into the weight loss phase. I mean, really the weight loss phase all the way through, but I just separate these out by phases because we kind of handle them differently, right? Week 1, we lean in a lot. We have the support texts on a daily basis. We get on the phone with them quite often. Then we celebrate them. Then weeks 2 to 4, right? We go to those once a week calls. They integrate in with the newsletter, the habit of health calls. You guys, know those opportunities along the way. And then we, after that first 30 days, we continue with those weekly calls. We celebrate them, as those celebrations. I mean, we can celebrate for whatever reason, right? Wonderland, transition, you like them, non-scale victories. So we're really familiar with this. The piece that we're going to shift is this arrow right here, the first 14 days. And it's going to be a simple shift, but it's 2 weeks of opportunities. Real quick, has anyone, felt like they've become disconnected in those 14 days because it's a long period of time to sit and wait, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this client I haven't talked to in 2 weeks. So now the very first thing we're going to do is offer a coaching session. So what this looks like, they place the order. As soon as they place the order, it's time for them to get started. We're no longer waiting. We are getting on their first coaching session with them within that first week. So what that looks like is we're going to be training them to either click on our link or however you offer to set up calls. You can send them some times. You get to choose that. And before they get on that call, they're going to complete the Habits of Health assessment that's on the site. Has anyone completed this yet? No, I'll let Megan in. Okay, so you guys, if you haven't completed it, I'd recommend completing it just so you're familiar with what they're actually going to be doing. So they're going to complete this. So they're going to be basically identifying their current reality through this assessment. Once they are done with that, they're going to schedule their first coaching session with you. On that session, we're going to go through a couple questions. What they are most excited about. So this is your week 1 session. What are you most excited about? What can't you wait for about program? What did you discover or uncover through taking that assessment? So what they are going to be telling you is likely, it's going to be different for everyone, right? And you just get to listen and hear them. Once you get through that, this call should not take more than 10 minutes, guys, right? You're setting the standard of what's to come in the coaching in this very first coaching session, their first week. So the 2 big questions, what are you most excited about? And what did you discover from the assessment? And drill into that a little bit, right? They should have said, oh, like, I need to work on this area, or I was kind of surprised about this. Dig in, ask why, right? Ask a couple questions to peel back the layers. And then the third objective is to let them know that their next session is their kickoff call. And before that session, they get to go to back to habitsofhealth.com and download. It's going to look like this for them if you guys haven't been there. The Lifebook preview. We are going to get them digging into their Lifebook. Once they download it, they will sign up for it with their email. This is what they're going to get. They're going to get a bunch of stuff to start working on head work and heart work. So really the first 14 days, we are getting their minds ready for what's going to happen. All right, so I am going to stop my screen share real quick so I can see everyone's faces. Hey, Meg. Any questions about that so far? Or perspectives and thoughts?
First of all, thank you for doing this. I love it. This will be very helpful because there has been that awkward several days and sending all the messages out, getting them geared up. Like I've got a lot of people who I sent the messages out to for their kickoff call tonight and their orders haven't even processed yet. So, you know, I need to backpedal. So this gives me an opportunity to do that. And also I think that this is the kind of like the missing link for a lot of people who just use this as a diet, just start in by taking weight off and never open that book. So the only hurdle I've run into, because I did send that out to a group of people, people who don't use their computers, people who are not on the internet or not internet savvy. So just be prepared to kind of, you know, do a little extra help for those people. I downloaded the ebook, but you cannot do it a second time. I don't believe. I've tried to send the email request a second time. So I don't know if we can send that to people as the PDF file, you know, to take that step out for people who are not internet savvy. And I don't mean, there are not very many of them, but that's just the, you know, the only hurdle that I ran into with that was somebody who's, you know, got that roadblock of, I don't know how to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's great to
Digital
for all of
immigrant.
us to be aware of. We may run into that. What was that, Kathy? Or was it Kathy?
A digital immigrant is what I call myself sometimes.
And Gretch, I love your, we may be able to send that PDF, and I just downloaded it this morning. So I will try to, after we get off the call today, to see if I can like forward it or send it. Because if we can, just save it as a file for anyone maybe who can't like get to a download for the Lifebook. All right, any other?
How do you
questions?
send PDFs that you have downloaded somewhere? Like on
How
my
do you?
phone,
Just as an attachment. You should be able to send it just as an attachment. Like I've sent Stop Challenge Choose, and that's 75 pages. I've sent that as an attachment.
because I've had PDFs on my phone before and I'm like, I don't know how to share this.
You might have to do it from a PC, but yeah. Awesome.
Or
So
send
can
it
you
to
guys kind of?
yourself. I send things to myself in Messenger, so then I can copy the link and send it.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do that with something. So guys, if I can do this, if I don't know how to do that and I can get to Integrated National and have an actual business, like y'all can do this.
So kind of visualize as well that health assessment, right? So if they say yes on the health assessment, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Let's set up your first coaching session. Let's get you started. All right. And you can schedule it right there on that health assessment. What works for you next week? It'll be about 10 minutes max. Before the health assessment, I'm going to have you take an assessment that's going to unpack, or before that first coaching session, you're going to take an assessment that's going to really peel back the layers of the onion of what matters most to you. It's going to paint you a picture of your current reality. So I'm just kind of talking through some of the verbiage you guys can use. You'll kind of walk into your own verbiage and what feels comfortable for you and how you posture it. But I encourage you to posture it with excitement and enthusiasm about we are starting you right now, and it's about working on what's between the ears and above the shoulders.
And reminding them that that's the long-term success.
And 25% of what the offer is. Right?
And
The
getting them
fueling stage will
integrated.
get there. Okay, and really this is going to solve the problem of communication and being in touch with our clients in the first 14 days, right? Because when they feel out of touch and they've ordered, like, I get it. Like, yeah, it's taking a little bit of time. So let's just stay in touch with them. All right,
Well,
so
Actually, Julie, people you don't know, you know, who you've never met, you've only met them because they reached out to you, and now they've given you their credit card information and everything else. It's, you know, it's a little awkward for them. They get a little bit nervous. Kathy just asked me a question, a text. With the health assessment, do we ask them to share the actual health, the evaluation? Do we ask them to actually share that, or just, because I know you get a score at the end. That's what people typically share with me.
Yeah, you can do that. And then this is how you figure out which one of those habits they're going to work on first.
So do
yeah,
they,
you,
do
you would
they
be going
share the-
over all of it.
okay, and do we get a copy? Because I've never gotten a copy of anybody's evaluation.
You can. So with it's in Buffalo. I'll have to find it and put it back because you can change the link. You can have an actual link to the health assessment, and in there it's like the percentage sign. It just says coach's email address, but if you switch it to put your email address in there, you can do that. I will find that and put it in our chat because this is a really bad explanation, but yes, you can.
that's awesome.
Okay, because
It will send you the results.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to encourage you guys, like, set those boundaries on how long this time is, right? We're not, yeah, you're going through that assessment, but we are really asking, like, what excites you most after taking that assessment, and what would you discover? Like, we want them to kind of tell us, you know, what they discovered, what they uncovered, what enlightened them, what shifts they know they're certain now they need to make, versus us kind of reading through it. And the screenshot of the numbers, or that's their starting point. So really what's going to serve us in a month, 2 months, a year is like, oh, this is where I started. Right. And now, like, that's a post. That's their 1 week like post they can make. Like, here's where I started. Here's where I am in just a month. That has nothing to do with what's on the scale. So
And it sets those boundaries sets the boundaries of our coaching sessions calls are no more than 10 minutes. So that sets that from the very beginning. Our calls are not going to be any more than 10 minutes.
awesome. All right. So with this, since we shifted, you know, kind of how we're approaching those first couple weeks, we shifted the information in our texting campaign as well. So there's going to be a little bit more. I'm going to show it to you. It's going to be a lot. We're not going through it, y'all. You guys can read, but I will pop the link in, but I do want to share it with you so that you know what you're looking at when you get there. So of course I'm in the middle of the document because I was so prepared. So I'm going to scroll up, but we're going to go to, let me move my control bar here if I can without, come here, you. All right, so this is the Latman Health, this is a successful start campaign. All right, so there's going to be a few more prep texts. I know some of you guys send them as email, some as messages, whatever platform you send them in, like it, as long as they're getting the message. But this is text 1 and 2 are really the big changes, and they are going to point them in the direction of that health assessment as well as the download. We also did some updates and refinement on the other ones, just making them more concise. So definitely read through and make your shifts in your, you know, wherever your verbiage sits, okay? So a lot of the things are the same, just some small edits made. So you can choose whether or not you make those shifts or not. So you guys have this information, but that's where you find all the verbiage. And Megan, do you want to pop that in the chat here for people to swipe if you have it? But really, that's it, guys. That's the shift. Any questions?
Yeah, are you putting that in Team Lampman chat as well? Okay.
Yeah.
That answers that, Beck.
Yep. So I'd encourage you guys to read through those, because we did make a handful of adjustments, and just kind of picture the flow and how you want to integrate it into your business as far as timing. There's timing suggestions, but as you know, like that's the standard, but we've got to be able to be flexible, right? Because we've just got to be able to flex and bend with the times. Awesome. Well, I'm excited. I've already tested this a little bit. A new client came on. I was like, send her that first text, and she's scheduled for Friday. Like, she scheduled it within the first 30 minutes. So I think this might be a shift that never goes away, hopefully, if it works for you guys. So keep the feedback coming. And, you know, as you experience the first couple sessions with them before their kit even arrives, let us know what you're contending with, what questions are coming up, or if you feel like we need to train more on what those need to look like for you guys.
Well, and I think even when shipping and processing doesn't take as long as it is right now, guys, I think this is going to be really, really helpful, because I'm in the same boat that Daria is. When you have a higher number of clients that you're working with, it can just suck the life out of you trying to keep up with everybody, and then you feel like you're not doing a good job, which isn't true. You're doing a good job. It's just taking more time than it should. So this really will streamline things. So thank you guys for doing this. The one thing that I've done, because I know some people don't like the term challenge, you know, feel like they're challenged enough in life. So I've turned that to either a tip or a suggestion, you know, and I've gotten a better response from that wording than challenge.
Thank you for that. That's something we can switch to.
Yeah, I think people just feel challenged enough. I do.
Here's a strong recommendation. Awesome. Well, I'm going to stop recording.